Hello everybody, Resonance here, and today I'll be giving you all my commentary on Game 7 in a best of 9 series played between the two teams, TyRanT Legends and SYA. This match was of course part of the round-robin stages of the War is Coming tournament that is currently being hosted on Voobly, and you can find more information on it, as well as links to download the replays on Aoe2 Zone, in the video description below. I will also have links to watch other War is Coming matches and or other expert games with my commentary in the video description as well. For the most part, I will be casting individual matches rather than the entire series because I don't have time to do a quality analysis of so many games. That being said, today's game between TyRanT Legends and SYA is one that I am very excited to show you. Both teams are renowned for having some of the best players that competitive Aoe2 has to offer, so there should be plenty of amazing plays from both sides. By the time you watch this video, the War is Coming Grand Finals will probably be finished, but I still plan to cast a few games from that series soon, so preferably don't spoil the results for me. As always, I love reading your comments, so feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know if you enjoyed this video and if you would like me to cover some of the Grand Finals as well. Alright, so without further ado, let's jump straight into Game 7, which will be a 4v4 on the map Arabia. On the right-hand side of the map, we have the team TyRanT Legends. Near the top corner, we have Jordan23 playing as the Grey Mongols. To his right, we have the Viper playing as the Red Huns. Just a bit below him, we have Doubt playing as the Green Mayans. And near the bottom corner, we have Cab playing as the Blue Chinese. Now, onto the left-hand side of the map, we have the team SYA. At the top corner, we have Yinghua playing as the Purple Huns. And just a bit below him, we have Feng Xin playing as the Teal Mayans. Near the bottom corner, we have number 23 playing as the Orange Chinese. And to his right, we have Mr. Yo playing as the Yellow Mongols. Now, in terms of the 4v4 metagame when it comes to open maps such as Arabia, it's pretty straightforward. There are basically two types of players in the team. We've got the flank and the pocket. Mr. Yo right here is considered to be his team's flank because he is adjacent to an enemy, in this case Cab. There's going to be two flank players. We have Yinghua, who's also the flank for his team, and we have Jordan23, which is the flank as well for TyRanT Legends. Now, the reason I bring this up is because if you're in the pocket position, like our good friend the Viper over here, look how far away he is from everybody else. This means that he is in really no danger of being rushed in the early game. So it's really the flanks that have to go for more early aggression and have to worry about getting rushed. Whereas players like the Viper and number 23 get to basically go for a fast castle age, an otherwise greedy, risky strategy if you are the flank. They get to go for a fast castle age basically for free without the risk of getting rushed. So what you can expect in general is that the flank players will go for some form of early aggression, perhaps a Dark Age rush with militia, or maybe they will just go straight to the feudal age, go for scouts or something like that. And the pockets, we can expect them to fast castle. Now, if we look at the civilizations here, we can see that we got the, well, actually, what's going on over here? It looks like Yinghua was actually trying to steal the boar here from Jordan, but it looks like Jordan was actually able to repel him. Just saw that little action going on in the minimap there, very interesting. So well played there from Jordan. Anyway, back onto the civs themselves. You know, we look at the civilizations. We have the Viper playing as the Huns, and he's in the pocket, so expect him to go for a fast castle age into something like Knights. Now, the Mayans are an interesting one, because the Mayans, just like the other Mesoamerican civs, like the Aztecs and the Incas, if you play on the Forgotten expansion, basically, they don't get Knights. They get access to Eagle Warriors instead, which are similar to Knights, but generally speaking, an Eagle Warrior rush isn't as effective as going for Knights, because they just don't have the raw stats of the Knights. The main reason that Knights are such a powerful unit, if you are in the pocket and you're going for fast castle age, is that Knights are very hard to deal with for the opposing flank players, which will still be in the feudal age when the Knights come out. The Spearmen are really not good enough against Knights. It takes so many Spearmen to be able to deal with them, and by making Spearmen to deal with the Knights, you are wasting your food, which otherwise could be spent getting to the castle age and otherwise helping you be able to compete with the Knights on fairer terms. Eagle Warriors don't really have that benefit. While they are quite good against the regular feudal age units, they are not nearly as powerful. So when you're in the pocket as a Mesoamerican civ, that's usually not the best situation, unless you're the Mayans. Because what the Mayans get to do is they have this wonderful, fantastic, unique unit that we call the Plumed Archer. So I expect to see the two Mayan pockets in this game to start heavily mining stone in the feudal age and try and build an early castle and just spam their unique unit, the Plumed Archer. The Plumed Archer is a very, very good unique unit and a strong alternative to Knights in the pocket for a couple of reasons. For one, usually if you're in the pocket, mobility is super duper important because you want to be assisting your flanks, which are going to be fighting, fighting each other quite heavily. And well, if you're going for crossbowmen in the pocket, it's going to take 13 years before your crossbowmen actually get to arrive and help your flank. So, Plumed Archers are nice because they run extremely fast. They're basically like cavalry archers that are, one, cheaper than cavalry archers, and two, they don't really have the weaknesses of cav archers either. What I mean by that is that they're not weak to spearmen, which is not really super duper relevant in most games, but it can be. The thing with Plumed Archers is that they cost almost nothing, and they're very, very fast, and just strong units in general. So, even though building a castle means that you get to produce an army a lot slower than your opponent, which might be, making stuff from like an archer range or something like that, it doesn't really matter because the Plumed Archers are just that good. But for that reason, you won't see players just spamming most unique units. It's usually the ones that get made would be like the Conquistador and the Plumed Archer. So yeah. Plumed Archer is going to be really, really solid here. Expect to see plumes from both of these guys, and early castle will also protect them against some rushes. And since the Mayans have such a strong economy as well, they are able to get to the castle age very quickly and take advantage of that. It looks like, if we check out the strategy so far as they're developing, looks like Mr. Yo here is going for a drush. Now we know this because he's got an early barracks, right? He's got this early barracks right here. He's going to start making some militia, and we can see 10 gold is missing from this gold mine. Because remember, militia do cost 20 gold each. You're going to have 50 gold left over after researching Loom, which he has right here. And so, in order to go for the standard 3 militia drush, he's going to need to mine 10 gold. No point in building a mining camp here, as it is just a waste of 100 wood. Much better to long distance mine just that 10. The militia coming out here, and it looks like Cab is about to get drushed. I think this is the only drush that I can see right now. Looks like Jordan is going to go into the feudal age, go for a scout rush. Pretty standard. He has the Mongols, so he should be able to get there before the opposing flank. Yinghua is probably also going for scouts. Very, very common strategy. Interesting thing here is that number 23 actually has his scout in just the right position at the right time to be able to assist Mr. Yo. Great control from him right here as he does manage to pick off this wolf, which otherwise would have damaged his militia, without taking a single damage on his militia. So good to see Mr. Yo watching very, very carefully in this case, so good on him. And yeah, the scout moving in here to assist him, and this drush will actually be quite devastating. Cab here is going to get a very, very solid quick wall off just in time, going to start building the foundation of these buildings, and this will limit the mobility of these militia. They cannot walk through a house that has already started being built, so you will not be able to harass those foragers. Now, the thing with drushes in general is that your militia, you may have noticed, stat-wise, compared to a villager, not really stronger than a villager at all. In fact, the militia don't even win that fight, straight up 1v1. But that doesn't really matter. The point of a drush is to maim, not to kill. If you can force the opposing villagers to, fight your militia back rather than gather resources, that's really good. Every second that your opponent is not spending gathering resources with a villager, that villager might as well be dead. And with the 2 scouts here, Cab is going to be in a lot of trouble here, and he's going to have to be quite careful. Thankfully for him, this lumber camp is on a hill, which means if his villagers do have to fight on said hill, they will be able to take a little bit less damage, as units that are on higher elevation do take less damage and deal slightly more to units on a lower elevation. Looks like the scouts were indeed coming out from Jordan, as he is going to start fighting Yinghua on the top side. What I like to see here is that Yinghua does respond with a couple of spearmen, which do make really, really short work of the scouts. Looks like this wall-off will not come up in time, and, well, Cab here, again, with another quick wall-off, going to protect his gold miners, and it looks like he's actually going to be forced to put down a watchtower here to protect his lumber camp, and I think this is a good decision here. I don't really know if he has too much of a choice, because this is his only lumber camp, and wood is extremely important. He's going to need this, and he can't afford to keep running away from these militia and running away from the scouts, as the double scout's going to be really, really threatening. Looks like they do get to take out Cab's scout for free, and he's going to pull out these militia back a bit. So huge victory here already for SYA, as Cab does get slowed down a lot. And building this watchtower early as well does really, really cripple you. This means that it costs him 125 stone, and if we take a look at his stone count right now, he only has 75 remaining, meaning that once he gets to the castle age, he will not be able to build more town centers, and without the town centers, his economy will grow a lot slower. Scouts are going to slip in here, as Yinghua, again, does not quite get to finish the wall off in time. He should be okay, as he's responded with scouts of his own. He's got a couple spearmen in here, and, well, unless he... Ooh, Good focus fire here from Jordan. He's going to get 2 scouts for free and get just barely out of there before the spearman gets there. So great control from Jordan as usual. Looking solid. This Drush here is going to get repelled as there's not too much more he can do here with the quick wall off, protecting the villagers as well as the watchtower. Cab here is going to start transitioning into archers, pretty straightforward. Yo still going to be in the Dark Age because, again, he went for those militia. It's going to cost him 180 food, slow down his feudal age. No problem there. Scout's going to be a huge nuisance on this side, and what's really interesting to see is that it looks like Feng Xin has opted for like a team wall. Looks like him and Yinghua are trying to establish a team wall here, and this is a lot of wood down the drain. This is a ton of wood, but it could really pay off and protect them. Except it is kind of backfiring in this case because Jordan was already in here with a couple of scouts, and he might be able to get a villager if he's really careful with this. He's actually going to be able to get a couple of villagers here, I think, for free. He's already got one, and he's going to pull out. Spearman here still chasing, and ooh, Jordan sees this just in time, and he's out of there. Good little quick wall off here, but this gold mine not really going to be able to get used right now. That's really unfortunate for Feng Xin. Going to slow him down a little bit. Cab pushing out here with a couple of archers and spearmen, but it looks like Mr. Yo has 2 ranges of his own, and he's going to try and respond perhaps with skirmishers. So right now the game is relatively even, but so on one hand, Cab was delayed substantially from that Drush, very well coordinated from number 23 and Mr. Yo, very devastating, but Jordan is doing so much damage with these scouts. He managed to force Ying to go for like a full wall off. In fact, because Jordan got to the feudal age first, because he's Mongols and he hunts faster, so it's a huge eco bonus. He got to the feudal age first, managed to out-scout rush Yinghua and force him to wall up, make a bunch of spearmen, and not only that, he got into Feng Xin's eco, which Feng Xin was going for the super greedy wall-off because he did not specifically want to get his eco rated, so he's going to be slowed down a lot. He lost a ton of villagers, and Jordan is getting some of the most value out of his scout rush I've ever seen in the history of Aoe2. These 3 scouts have a body count of at least like 5 or 6 units, so they've already paid for themselves and more. The Viper going to be the first player up to the Castle Age as he's the Huns, very strong economy. Makes sense that he is a little bit faster than number 23 in the Chinese as the eco bonus isn't quite as strong there. Mr. Yo responding with skirmishers, the counter unit of course to the archers. What I like is that Cab right now demonstrating great control. As the skirmishers are focus firing down the archers, he does turn around with the spearmen and get a couple free hits off on Mr. Yo's skirms before both players do back off. This stable is getting harassed down actually pretty heavily, and well, Yinghua might actually have to replace that at some point. The fascinating thing I think is that he's actually opted to stonewall off literally everything here, and he's completely conceded that Jordan has a definitive military lead here, so he just went for the full stone wall, and what this means to me is he really needs to get to the Castle Age, I think, and he's going to try and transition into Knights and see if he can keep up with Jordan. We'll see if that works out, though. That's very costly, walling here from SY. Another thing is of course, a Doubt is up to the Castle Age. He is going to be doing that castle, just like I mentioned earlier on in the game. You can see him heavily mining that stone. Castle coming up, Plumed Archers as well, TC coming up from him. A TC coming up from the Viper is going for the standard pocket, 2 stables into Knights. 1 stable, usually kind of greedy, 2 stables just about right for him to commit to those Knights. Number 23 is going to mirror this, of course, as he's going to go for the 2 stable as well and put down a TC of his own. Get some fighting over here as the Viper is going to be backing up Cab on his side. It's very important that Cab gets help in this situation because right now, God, look at Jordan still getting so much value from these scouts. Absolutely incredible. The thing here is that Cab is the most behind player on TyRanT Legends right now. He is the one that really needs help. While he does have a massive military, as we can see right here, he's got a military population of 17. He's got a 10 military lead over Mr. Yo, but in terms of everybody on the team, he's not going to be able to get to the Castle Age for a long time because his army size is so huge. In fact, I expect him to be the slowest player to the Castle Age in the entire game. So he's really going to need some backup here, and it's important that they snowball Cab's side, because Mr. Yo will probably get to the Castle Age before Cab, because Cab has invested so much in this military. So I like to see that the Viper has sent his Knights over here, especially because he knows that Jordan won his side definitively, and that Jordan is not really in any danger of being attacked. Jordan going to be able to go to the Castle Age at a fairly efficient time, and now it's just number 23 and the Viper fighting with Knights, as Cab is looking for a place to apply some offensive pressure. Plumed Archers coming out here, and one thing that's really fascinating is if we compare the castle timings, Doubt's castle has been up for a really long time, and Feng Xin actually managed to he decided to actually put down, let's see, an extra TC, 2 extra TCs, yeah, he went for 2 TCs before he built his castle, whereas Doubt built his castle immediately once he hit the castle age, and from there, well, Doubt built another TC, and so there's a TC advantage right now for Feng Xin. He will start pulling ahead in the economy side of things, but this is going to be really interesting for SYA as, well, TyRanT is going to start pulling ahead in the military side of things substantially, as the Plumed Archer is going to be really, really delayed for Feng Xin. It's almost 21 minutes into the game, and he's not going to be able to have Plumed Archers out for quite a while, and Doubt already has a sizable number of those. It looks like number 23 is going to outmaneuver TyRanT's army and is going to try and get straight into Cab's eco. Cab going to have to pull everything back for this, so really, really well played by number 23. Going to slip right in and do some heavy, heavy damage to these villagers, force them all off the line. None of them are going to be gathering, and this is going to give them a big lead on this side. But again, this is anyone's game at this point. Looks like Jordan 23 has opted to go for a monastery. I like this choice. So he noticed that he's playing against the Huns, and the Huns have a relatively limited selection of units. It's just cavalry, cavalry, cavalry. If it's not in a horse, they don't get it, basically. They have horses, trash units, and siege rams, so not a huge variety in units, and, well, he sees the stable here. Jordan's like, I'm playing against the Huns flank. What's he going to do? He's stonewalled up. He's got a stable right here. The dude's going for knights. So Jordan here going to go for as anti-knight strategy as possible, and he's going with camels, which are a counter to knights, especially because, unlike pikemen, they are fast enough to be able to successfully chase after the knights. So he went for camels and monks, which is going to be really, really strong against Yinghua. He's going to be in huge trouble. Cab, though, still taking a lot of punishment here, as Mr. Yo going to come in and zone all these villagers off of the stone, which, again, Cab did need to start mining some stone because he did build this watchtower, and without that, he will not be able to build any walls, castles, or town centers, which are all very, very substantially important defensive buildings that you get in the Castle Age. So, things not looking so good for Cab on his side. He's going to be in big, big trouble as his army, very slow and immobile. He was chasing after those knights, was not able to get them, and, well, during this time he's going to take a lot of punishment because his army is just able to be outmaneuvered. Doubt here to save the day, though. His Plumed Archers coming in quite quickly with fletching. And also, the Viper here is going to be escorting Jordan's monk that is carrying this relic as well. So that's going to start snowballing TyRanT. So really, the thing here is that SY favored on the bottom side of the map, but TyRanT strongly favored on the top side of the map. So it's up to TyRanT to be able to turn this side around and try and keep Mr. Yo as weak as possible so the Cab can snowball this side. The thing here is, though, is there is a definitive massive military lead for TyRanT right now. Absolutely massive. Only 9 military units from Feng Xin. He has not been able to get out that many plumes, whereas Doubt, it has like 10 extra plumes on him. Mr. Yo as well, down by about 10 military population, so really they're just kind of banking on the eco side being snowballed from Feng Xin, as the double TC thing seems a little curious to me, but really the sad part of this situation for SY is that even though Feng Xin put down the 2 TCs, Doubt is actually slightly ahead in his economy, even though Feng Xin has had a 1 TC lead for a little bit. I mean, Doubt has already put down another TC, and I do believe he should be on... Actually, he still might be on 2. Either way, okay, no, he does have 3 TCs, yeah. Even though Doubt was behind on TCs, Feng Xin still actually slightly behind in eco anyway. And a huge part of this is because Jordan did so much work in the early game for his team. Jordan MVP, oh my goodness, with the scouts in the early game, doing so much damage and great control as well. Gonna pull back, save this knight at 1 HP. That's some sick micro, although he does need to probably pull out here. Camel's coming in for a flank, and you have a lot of battles going on. It's going to boil down to really, really shrewd troop management and positioning. Communication here going to be super duper important. Make sure their troops are where they're needed. And number 23 going to take quite a little bit of damage here as TyRanT is watching carefully as those units do walk by. Jordan is in a actually pretty good position here. He will be able to rout these Plumed Archers as they're not really going to be able to do too much here. Looks like the Plumed Archers are moving out. Both sides get the Bodkin arrow, and, well, the Viper wants to go in for the kill on Mr. Yo because, again, this is where TyRanT needs to secure the win. They do have the top half of the map basically to themselves, but Cab was a little bit behind in the early game due to that drush. But he has a huge military lead, so assuming that he gets to keep this army and the Cab doesn't get pressured as hard, he should be good to go. The reason that this side, again, is important is because Cab was the slowest of the Castle Age, but it was not relevant at all in this case, as TyRanT was able to back him up with both pockets, as Jordan is able to be self-sufficient and fend for himself. The Viper here going to go for a Siege Workshop. I like this. He'll be able to get it a couple Mangonels if need be to go deal with those pesky Plumes, and a Monastery for Monks in case he needs them. These Plumes shouldn't be too much of a big deal as they will be able to get run down by Knights. TC coming up. Huge battle over here on this side. The Viper is going to be chasing these guys down, and it's basically 3v2 on this side. Feng Xin needs to really get that military rolling. He has opted to, instead of defending his teammates on this side, instead of defending Mr. Yo on the flank, he's decided to go straight for the throat and go for Doubt's eco. Very, very risky, but it can work out. Now, the thing is I really, really like it as the pocket when you go and raid the other pockets, rather than, defending your flank, if your flank can hold. And really, Feng Xin is banking on Mr. Yo being able to hold this. Mr. Yo does have a Mangonel, which is, of course, the great equalizer. When you are behind, from a military standpoint, you gotta get that Mangonel out. Trade efficiently with your opponent. Feng Xin gonna be able to get a couple villagers here for free. But yeah, the Mangonel's really, really nice because, you get one Mangonel out and you'll be able to kill an entire group of crossbowmen if you micro really carefully and your opponent makes a mistake. So, in that sense, it's really, really good if you're behind. You'll be able to trade, like, one Mangonel for, like, 10 crossbowmen, which can just be great. The Knights here are going to come in and try and zone off Feng Xin, as Feng Xin did kill a bunch of Stone Miners, but, I mean, really, they're just banking on Mr. Yo being able to hold this line while Feng Xin gets to do some damage. Risky, but it could pay off, and, well, TyRanT is ahead just in general at this point in the game, and when you're behind, you do have to take some risks, so I understand that. It looks like Stonewall coming up here from Jordan, and the reason that he's doing this, I'm assuming, is they want to put like a market up here and start trading on the top area because they know that SY not really too spooky at this point. This is a huge, huge, huge army from TyRanT right now. I do not think SY will be able to respond to this without some Mangonels. Look at all these juicy, juicy units, but a huge, huge number of Knights from our good friend number 23 here. The fight is going to begin. Doubt, though, does have an elevation advantage. What I like to see is that Cab has boxed in his units right there. He's clumped them super, super tight up against the trees, and this is important because it's very hard for the Knights to get the surround in this case. Cab probably going to lose all these crossbowmen, but Doubt is getting all these free shots on the Knights. He's going to be focus firing down the Knights from the hill. He's going to take less damage, deal more. Feng Xin, though, going to close in from behind, but again, elevation advantage to Doubt. This army will probably get routed, though, as they are completely surrounded, because there was a little bit of an elevation lead from number 23. Positioning your units here, very, very important. This army going to get routed, and SY showing promising signs of life here as they are able to completely defend against that. Yinghua with a massive army of Knights, and we'll see if Jordan is able to defend this, but he's got the counter units, and that's exactly what you need to do as the game goes on. You can get away with making like nothing but Knights in the early game, but as the game goes on, counter units allow you to trade efficiently, and even though he was substantially outnumbered here, Jordan going to take this fight, and he gets this castle up at exactly the perfect time. Yinghua not able to react in time. He's going to lose a lot of Knights and take a ton of damage here. This side, again, the bottom half of the map looking promising for SY, kind of even, but on the top side, well, Jordan's looking real strong, and the Viper, holy shit, this guy can boom. His eco is huge, and as always, he has a massive, massive score lead over the opposing pocket. The Viper is looking super, super intimidating, and the scary part is he is able to be in, well, two places at once. He's on both sides of the map. Some really, really good focus fire here from Cab. Remember trying to focus down the individual Knights, much better that way. He's going to be able to get a bunch of those guys for free before the Knights even get a chance to react, and Feng Xin not there at the right time. Number 23 is going to engage without Feng Xin on the back, and this is really, really bad as Cab is able to get a bunch of shots for free here, and a bunch of Knights get traded away for a couple of crossmen, so good trade here from Cab. The Viper up to the Imperial Age. He's got the Cavalier upgrade, huge power spike for him. These crossbowmen not as scary anymore. You'll also notice that these players do prioritize the defense upgrades on their melee units. That is important because you need to, with your Knights, the goal is to try and go for the exterior villagers away from town centers. And you're going to be taking a lot of like shots from town centers as you're raiding, maybe castles, maybe crossbowmen. And this will allow you to live longer and deal more damage. By going for the offensive attack upgrades, you ironically will be doing less damage because your guys will just die faster. Feng Xin gonna have to pull back here as the Viper threatening to just end Mr. Yo's life. Mr. Yo trying to stonewall up as fast as he can, but it looks like the Viper just barely gets in. Stonewall not finished in time. Mr. Yo gonna lose this villager, and with this maybe his life. The power spike is here from the Viper up to the Imperial Age at a very, very solid time, and he's just gonna be able to make short work of everybody. as there's a big tech lead here. Doubt also up to Imp, Elite Plumed Archers coming out, Fengzin up to Imp, but number 23 not quite up to Imp yet. He's on his way there, but the Viper's going to have this huge period where he has Cavaliers, and number 23 only has Knights. Super bad for SY. They're going to have to do something to pull back in this. Jordan here with one of the greediest siege workshops I've seen in a while, although we've seen plenty of greedy siege workshops in Wars coming. If you remember the last game I casted. This one not going to go up. Not going to go up. Yinghua, not born yesterday, is going to see this one. Fengzin able to defend this. Good position for the castle here on a hill. Going to be a lot harder to take down and not easily in Treb range. He's going to need to be able to control this side. Jordan transitioning into the ridiculously overpowered Mangadai units. If you can somehow get those out, do amazing work with them, as they're incredibly hard to counter since they're cavalry archers with an attack bonus versus siege. To deal with Mangadai, you need a good combination of units like skirms and mangonels and some knights to go really deal with those. But like I said, I mean, look at this, look at this. The tech advantage here is what's winning this game. The Viper basically just putting his entire team on his back, and he's just like, thank you guys for doing such a solid job in the early game. In the early game, the rest of TyRanT playing so well that the Viper gets to boom like crazy, and once it hits the Imperial Age, he's like, alright guys, I've finished farming. It's time to upgrade everything. Get to the Imperial Age before number 23. I love the decision to go for camels here. He's going to need something because his knights can't compete with these paladins. The upgrade lead is huge, 180 HP to 120, not going to cut it. The stats on the Viper's side, and Mr. Yo getting clobbered. Oh god, it just sucks to be him right now, as there's really not too much he could do in this situation, as really he just got ganged up on really hard by TyRanT. Jordan 23 created so much space in the early game by doing such a good job with the scouts, by delaying Fengzin and delaying Yinghua, getting to the Feudal Age first, doing so much damage with his scouts that the Viper was able to just basically join this side of the map. Usually you expect to see a 2v2 in these 4-on-4 Arabias, like a 2v2 for both flanks, but it was a 3v2 on this side, and TyRanT going to take Mr. Yo basically entirely out of the game. He's going to go for a mass exodus across the map, as the world is watching and hoping that number 23's heavy camels are enough here, but remember, if you're Chinese, you don't get paladins either, so, well, the Viper looking really strong here, and everybody on TyRanT is playing a fantastic game. This is some top-level Aoe2. I mean, really, SY has been doing some great work here. Really, a huge chunk of the match also, I think, got turned around when Fengzin decided to go for the 2 TCs rather than going for his castle right off the bat. It allowed Doubt to get a very substantial military lead. He had about a 10 Plumed Archer lead in the early game. And that allowed them, again, to really pressure Mr. Yo on his side and pressure number 23, slow down his Imp, allowed the Viper to get to Imp first. Then he gets some Paladins out, and oh, things are looking so bad. So bad for SY, but they are doing good work on the top side of the map. Yinghua up to the Imperial Age. He will be able to get Paladins to match the Viper. A lot of Elite Plumed Archers here from Fengzin. They will be able to tread this entire area off. Jordan was pretty aggressive with these castles, and they're all kind of in the same position. It's going to be really tricky for him to defend against this. Good focus fire on the Trebuchet here from SY. It's going to be a really tricky fight for them. Jordan might actually lose a castle, but we'll see. The Viper, though, with just a huge eco, Mr. Yo kind of dead entirely. I mean, the dude's at 24 to 105 population. Military pop is 0. Oh, it's looking really bad. I mean, this is a top good quality 4v4 Arabia game. This is really good. I love to see this. Unfortunately, I think SY is basically dead, and right now they're just, trying their best at this point. Looks like number 23 actually going to tribute quite a bit of money to Mr. Yo, even though he is dead. They're going to try and see if it can boom back in the game. They're putting everything on this top corner of the map, and they're trying to see if, well, this side can be defended successfully by number 23, who's, well, he lost that castle. That's not good. The dude's got not enough military units. Mr. Yo going to do what he can to contribute at this point and try and build a defensive castle. Too little too late, though. This side of the map will crumble, as Mr. Yo probably has, like, what, 1 TC left? That's not so good. But this side of the map looking really good for SY. They are able to 2v2 against the Viper and Jordan really successfully. While the Mangadai are extremely powerful and hard to deal with, Plumed Archers are actually decent against them with their very high Pierce armor. Not only that, the thing with Elite Mangadai is they create extremely slowly. If you're able to get a huge group out of them, you usually win just because they're so hard to deal with, but it's really hard to get those out. Their upgrades incredibly expensive, they create really slowly, you can only make them from a castle. Plumed Archers make much faster, they cost a lot less, and they're pretty good against Mangadai. the thing here is that Mangadai aren't really good against anything, actually, at all that the opposing team has, except for SY's trebuchets. The Mangadai here going to be too slow, and, well, SY is going to be able to claim this entire top area of the map. I'd really like to see a couple onagers, I think, to go deal with the trebuchets, be able to take those out from distance, as well as the clumped-up plumed archers. But yeah, I mean, the elite Mangadai, as spooky as they are, you got to get out enough of them, and you know, I don't really know if TyRanT can hold this side, but one thing I am 100% sure of is that number 23 cannot hold this side. Even though this castle is on the hill and is going to be quite hard to take out, and there's some solid cavaliers over here, there are enough archers on this side to take care of two dudes easy, especially one player. Jordan still, though, making quite a few. Mangadai is going to lose that castle finally, like I said he probably would at some point. The Paladin's coming in here to assist from the Viper. Paladin's going to be quite strong. The Viper does not have access to camels, which, you know, still wouldn't really be that good here because the plumed archers will be able to eat right through the camel's low pierce armor. This side looking very, very promising for SY. The mangonels that I mentioned were coming out from Jordan, but they, you know, they're just mangonels, right? You can see the dead little bodies of those over there. They're just mangonels, not scary enough. They need to be at least onagers. The thing with the Mongols is that they have a disgustingly strong early game and very strong late game, and if you don't... But their mid-game also kind of decent, but there's like this period when they hit the Imperial Age where they just kind of suck and you need to get like a bunch of upgrades for them. They cost a ton. So, making that transition period can be really tricky, but if you live, you win, and SY, well, they've recognized that the bottom half of the map is just gonna get steamrolled over here, and they're gonna call it game. Even though they were winning the top-hand side of the map because the Mongols always have a trouble transitioning into getting all their upgrades and getting all their powerful Imperial Age units, they were able to exploit this and win the top-hand side of the map and prove that SY and TyRanT Legends are very evenly matched, and this was a close game. But really what it boiled down to was a couple of factors. Jordan being completely self-sufficient on his side with those scouts, doing an insane amount of damage. With like 3 scouts, the dude, he killed like six different types of units there. And, well, that's really, really critical. Being self-sufficient on this side meant that, you know, the Viper was able to focus down Mr. Yo and number 23, basically 3v2 this area. Feng Xin as well went for a extra TC before he built his castle, so he was a couple minutes behind Doubt's castle. And then that meant that there was a huge military lead for TyRanT in that mid-stage of the game. And combined with all that, well, you know, Mr. Yo was just not able to defend all of that. The Viper was also the first player to get to Imp, and that was basically what actually sealed the deal. That ended the game right there. When the Viper was the first player to get to Imp, he was able to get Cavalier when everybody else was in the Castle Age and not able to respond appropriately. And then he got Paladins. Well, number 23 was just finally upgrading to Cavalier. And when it comes to Chinese versus Huns, the Chinese Cavaliers are just not strong enough to be able to compete with those Paladins. So, yeah, a really, really great game from both sides, and man, I gotta say, I love watching SY and TyRanT play. They always produce top quality games. This was a good one indeed, and man, Jordan's control, ooh, solid. Everyone played like really, really well. Cab responded to the early pressure. He also had a very, very rough early start with the scout coming in from number 23 and the Drush, but he was able to survive that and keep a huge military lead over Mr. Yo. Really, SY was just the defensive team here. I mean, we can see that with all the walls, we can see that with the stone walls. SY was the very defensive team, except for Mr. Yo going on the offensive in the early game. And when it comes to, you know, these big games, really being the aggressor is usually favored. You know, obviously it depends, but usually being the aggressor is favored because if you are the one attacking your opponent all the time, you are able to build up your own economy and play as greedy as possible. You don't need to worry about defense. And if your opponents are always defending and they're not attacking you, you should be able to pull ahead economically, provided you don't lose your army. And we saw that, whereas Doubt was down a TC, but able to actually somehow maintain a eco lead over Feng Xin, because TyRanT was the ones that were almost always doing the pressuring. And Cab did a really good job surviving the early pressure, responding with a watchtower, good unit control from him. He was able to get some really solid quick walls off, and the good thing here is he was so efficient with his military. He knew that he wouldn't be able to get to the Castle Age for a while, so keeping his army alive and not losing it was super duper important, and he managed to basically just never lose his army until they decided to fight around here towards the later stages of the game. So hopefully that makes sense, the steps that TyRanT took to seize this victory from SY. But yeah, what a solid game here. We can see as well, yeah, it looks like this was where the trade line was going up here. So close to SY's trade line. It was really funny. So very close. Should the game have gone on for long enough, that trade line surely would have died for TyRanT, as SY was able to clinch this one. So yeah, a lot of reasons why TyRanT was able to come out on top in a fantastic, fantastic match from TyRanT Legends here. Really look forward to seeing how the rest of the tournament rolls out, yeah, because we've had some really top quality matches from both sides here. Love watching some of that 4v4 Arabia. Alright, so let's go check out the achievements, shall we? GG, well played, SY and TyRanT Legends. Great to see some good Aoe2. Oh, look at some of those military leads. Wow. That tells a pretty... oh, that tells a not-so-pretty story for SY, as the TyRanT Legends victory theme that we hear quite so often is playing right now. Oh my, oh my, oh my. What a good game. Solid trade profit here for TyRanT, as SY was not able to get out their trade yet towards the end. That's just because they were on the back foot for most of the game. Wow. Yeah, poor Mr. Yo just ended up getting just overwhelmed on his side. Not really too much he could do there. Jordan really heavy on the eco side of things, but like I said, I mean, it kind of makes sense that he had to go so heavy on that eco, because the Mongols have a very strong late game, but it requires so many technologies to get there. They need like onagers, they need siege engineers, they need elite Mangadai, you know, combine that with conscription and everything. Oh god, it just costs so much money. Parthian tactics. It can be really tricky to get all those techs out at the same time, so we did have to boom really heavy for that. So yeah, wow, what a good game from both teams. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this as much as I did. Some really top quality Aoe2 here. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave me a like rating, as well as check out the rest of the stuff on my YouTube page. I've got plenty of other expert Age of Empires 2 games, as well as just, you know, games of myself playing with you guys, or just videos of other games. So if you like this one, you'll probably like those as well. As always, guys, I really appreciate the support. You know, the overwhelming positive reception to my expert game commentaries has been fantastic. Love reading your comments. Thank you so much. Hope you all enjoyed watching this. What a good game, and you know, sometime over the next few weeks, I would love to cover a little bit of the grand finals of War is Coming. Let me know if that's something that you would like me to do. Preferably don't spoil it for me, though, as I have been busy doing some classwork, so I'm not actually aware of who wins that. And yeah, it's gonna be really fun. Hope we get some games this good. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching, guys. GG, well played, TyRanT Legends and SY. What a good game indeed.